Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flip the pyramid.
Turning that pyramid on its head.
Flipping the pyramid. Flip the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flip the pyramid. Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the whole paradigm of that hierarchical system on its head.
Well, good evening and welcome along once again to the reality check with Bluebus here on Flipping the Pyramid. Monday evening once again. Hope you can all hear me in the chat room. If you're logged in, you're listening live, cool. If you're on the podcast, then it's whatever time you'd like it to be, really. But it's the 8th of October, 2012. Yep. Hurtling towards the end of the year, and yeah, we don't need any more trouble. We've had enough. Thanks to Bob Marley there for the opening tune. Going to be playing a few more songs as well tonight, maybe squeeze a few more in and see how long it all goes on for. I'm not saying I'm going to be here a long time, but we'll just see how it flows. 9 o'clock-ish is my kind of hour, but we'll see how it all flows. But yeah, what a week we've had. All sorts of things becoming apparent. Lots of more truth coming out, more unveiling of stuff. Mainly, I think, in the UK, dominated by this paedophilia stuff going on with, if you don't know who Jimmy Savile is and you're in the States, Google the name, you'll find this guy. He was a entertainer for the last 40-50 years, and all that time he was a child abuser, and it's been coming out more and more, and as this story develops, and led me onto another sort of deeper even. I mean, the problem is with this whole scenario and looking into it of child abuse, etc. It's obviously it's a very, very difficult subject. People don't really want to talk about it, and as you can see with the cover-up with the BBC for the last 30-40 years, you can see that some people heard about things, didn't say anything, kept it quiet, closed ranks. I said this last week, and we just get to the stage where it's almost like it's okay, because it's no good talking about it afterwards. If the person's doing it, you have to, stop that person or report it at the very least. But the problem that being, you get lots of, false claims, etc. But this guy in particular, I think it was apparent, and in some of the other sort of digging I've been doing about other people, it seems apparent that there's more going on and more investigations should continue. And with the people coming out and saying and speaking about it, etc. The documentary that came out last week, I know some people have seen it. I watched it as well. And it's, you could say on one hand it is a distraction technique. Yes, it is. It's dominating the news over here quite a bit. But at the same time, this is all part of a sort of sick agenda that's been played out in a sense, where people in control, people who have power, the sick and twisted, we call them psychopaths anyway. You have to be a bit unhinged to be able to sign off, death warrants or authorize, a hit or a war or whatever it is. You are the guy signing those papers or whatever it is to say, yes, I agree with this, and on behalf of us, the people, we're going to war, or we're going to do this to protect our safety, under the guise of that nonsense. And we all know that is complete rubbish. It's for their own self-interests and their own corporate greed, and their partners all in cahoots together. And on the inside of it, you have horrible, horrible, evil, dirty, disgusting men who carry out evil acts against children and abuse them, and use people like Savile as their little sort of, go-betweens, whatever. It's just so horrible. It doesn't even bear thinking about. I mean, I'm a father, and I just don't get the these people are just, they're sick, and they need removing, not just from, society, but removing from running our governments as well and our societies, because this thing runs deep, guys, I tell you. And one story that did sort of catch my attention, even though it's been around for a while now, and I did drop it into a link in Skype the other day, because I just came across this, even though it was something that I had heard about, but an article which basically goes even deeper into this kind of awful sort of story, and it basically goes right back to a story that obviously everybody's heard of, Dunblane, and the massacre of the school children in Dunblane and the school teachers, and this is a story that was sort of came out about 2002, 2003, and it was published in the Scottish Herald. However, it was very quickly removed, and a D-notice or gagging order placed upon the press in general, right across the field. Not just the Scottish Herald. Every single newspaper in the land was not allowed to print anything about this story that came out. And it basically, I'll read some of it out, because it says here, in the early months of 2003, just prior to the illegal invasion of Iraq, and working in conjunction with a London-based freelance journalist who had thoroughly double-checked exposures published by the Scottish Sunday Herald newspaper, which is this guy called Mike James, I publicised details of a child sex ring linked to senior ministers within the Blair government. It says, I initially published my findings stemming from discreet leaks from a secret list provided by the American FBI to the Sunday Times newspaper, and concomitantly discovered that Tony Blair had issued a gagging order to suppress all further discussions of a scandal that would most certainly have brought a swift end to his administration and made Britain's collusion in the destruction of Iraq impossible. It says, the articles I wrote concerning the Operation Orr cover-up and the 100-year blackout order imposed upon the report concerning the Dunblane massacre of children used and abused by senior Scottish Labour government ministers can still be found here, and there's links. I'll stick the link in the chat and here. I think it's quite a long article, but it mentions these stories, which also implicated the Attorney General Lord Goldsmith, former NATO boss Lord Robertson, and the Svengali of Tony Blair and Gordon Brown's rise to power, the flamboyant homosexual Peter Mandelson, now Lord Mandelson, were widely publicised on the internet, excited debate within numerous online forums, and inspired Robert Kilroy Silk's former Veritas Party to undertake a detailed examination of the extent to which senior and junior ministers close to Gordon Brown were given free licence to engage in paedophilic activities under the protection of the British intelligence services. It says the Sunday Herald's incendiary story, Child Porn Arrests Too Slow, which was published on the 19th of January in 2003, written by its Home Affairs correspondent Neil Mackay, disappeared rapidly from the internet within weeks of my exposure. Mackay's editor, at first cooperative, subsequently refused to answer any further inquiries put to him by myself and the freelance journalist Bob Keeley. It says, each and every letter I sent to the British Home Office, Scotland Yard and the Sunday Times solicited not one single reply. It says, Lord Robinson, a self-confessed Freemasonic member of Edinburgh's sinister Speculative Society Lodge, who enjoyed a peculiarly close personal relationship with Thomas Hamilton, the mass murderer of the abused children in Dunblane, failed to sue the Sunday Herald for libel and promptly disappeared from public life. Police records revealed that Robertson had helped expedite the process by which the Mancunian candidate Hamilton, already a convicted child molester with known affiliations to the British elite, was able to obtain gun licenses. It says Robertson worked in collusion with Michael Forsyth, Secretary of State for Scotland, a fellow speculative Freemason, and Robert Bell, an associate of Malcolm Rifkin, British Foreign Secretary. Robertson, at the behest of Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, had a vested interest in wasting children who were beginning to talk. It says on the 13th of March 1996, Thomas Hamilton, a former Boy Scout leader, walked into Dunblane Primary School armed with two 9mm pistols and two 3.57 Magnum revolvers. He killed 16 small children and a teacher. The subsequent police investigation revealed that Hamilton had loaded the magazines for his Browning with an alternating combination of fully metal-jacketed and hollow-point ammunition. This horrific event led to the banning of handguns in the UK. It says here, how convenient. It says the judge who conducted the inquiry into the atrocity, during which two teachers claimed to have seen another mysterious man guiding Hamilton onto the premises, was Lord Cullen. Lord Cullen, also a member of the Freemasonic Speculative Society and an associate of Labour Scottish Mafia figures such as Lord Robertson, Tony Blair, John Reed and Gordon Brown, was accused by leading journalists and emergency service personnel of having achieved a cover-up. According to the journalist Marcello Mega in the News of the World on the 28th of December 2003, it says a top Scottish Freemason, former Grand Master Lord Burton, has said that Lord Cullen's inquiry into the Dunblane massacre was a cover-up. It says Lord Burton says Cullen's inquiry suppressed crucial information to protect high-profile legal figures. It says these high-profile legal figures may belong to secretive super-Mason group called the Speculative Society. It says Lord Burton said, I have learned of an apparent connection between prominent members of the legal establishment involved in the inquiry and the secretive Speculative Society. It says the society was formed in Edinburgh University through Masonic connections, so I accept that there may be a link by that route. Reportedly, members of the Speculative Society have included Lord Cullen and a number of other judges, sheriffs and advocates. Some of these high-profile people had links to the Queen Victoria School, where gunman Thomas Hamilton was allowed to roam free before the 1996 atrocity. Reportedly, the police are investigating claims that pupils at Queen Victoria School were regularly taken away and sexually abused. It says former housemaster Glenn Harrison told the News of the World how he even found Hamilton, 43, creeping around the dormitories at night. He said Hamilton had close links to a top policeman. Glenn was never called to give evidence at the Cullen inquiry. Lord Burton said, I tried repeatedly to raise concerns about the inquiry during my time in the Lords, and I was bullied and threatened by powerful peers loyal to the Conservative government of the day, who warned me of dire consequences if I continued to embarrass them. According to this source, Malcolm Rifkin's friend and his then chairman of his constituency party at Edinburgh Pentlands, Robert Bell, according to the front page lead of the Edinburgh Evening News on March the 23rd, 1996, sold guns and ammunition to Thomas Hamilton only a few weeks before the Dunblane massacre, and it was reported he said he would sell him guns again. It says Glenn Harrison had kept dozens of files from pupils alleging bullying and abuse while he was at the Queen Victoria School, and wrote to the parents warning of the dangers in 1991. It led to him being ousted from the school, and just days before he left, police raided his home and confiscated the files. Glenn states that Hamilton had been a friend of Ben Phillip, the senior housemaster at QVS. Mr. Phillip died on December 1993, aged 46, when he fell from a ladder while hanging decorations. So obviously he can't verify that. But it says for William Burns' further elucidation of the cover-up, it says, please see another reference. But don't want to read it all out because it does go into quite some detail. But the actual cover-up and the gagging order that went on back in the day, I think the reason why I mention this is because to me, it's just, the Jimmy Savile thing is really just scratching the surface. And obviously he's been put up for, like the sacrificial lamb, if you like. The journalist who obviously went along and did this investigation, and the subsequent program that was broadcast, it was allowed to be broadcast. It was, if they didn't want it on there, it wouldn't be on there. Obviously he's not going to go any further, especially when there's a gagging order on this story to prevent anybody from, going into the details, etc. So, in 100 years' time, we'll all be dead. And just like everything else that comes out, 80 years later, or whatever it may be, which sheds new light on things, it's it's apparent that they've got a lot to hide here. And whether or not we'll ever get to the truth, we'll ever be able to expose these crooked politicians, past and present, even if they are dead, because there's stories coming out all the time now about various other people who are involved in all sorts of this type of going on, this paedophile stuff. You just go back to, there's accusations of all sorts of ex-politicians: Willie Whitelaw, Winston Churchill, Edward Heath. There's so many of these stories that would say that all of these types of people who have this so-called shiny public image, behind the scenes, and verified by people sometimes who've known and worked closely with these people. It's quite obvious these are quite sick individuals and a bit twisted. And when you put links to Freemasonry, Scottish, secret societies, all the rest of it, you can see how the links, and the tentacles spread far and wide here. And for this story to have been gagged, is obvious to me that there's more here, and there definitely are trying to hide away here. And listening to Tony Blair's comments when he was Prime Minister regarding protecting children, etc., it's very obvious to me that this guy just completely does not get it at all. He even advocated taking children away before they're even born, when they've committed, trying to sort of, if you like, stamp down on abuse of children. This is just state kidnapping in my book. To confiscate children before they've even been born is just a step too far. And I think back in the day it raised some concern and controversy in the media, but as always, the legislation's passed through, and these types of things are happening in private courts and secret courts all over the country right now, where children are being taken off their parents. Some cases, yes, if a child is under harm and the parents are difficult, or there's some issues, but in a lot of cases that come out now, children are being just taken away through not serious cases at all. And it's just the government, if you like, or the social services invoking the so-called, law, and what they can do now if they think something's at risk. So it's just nosy people and the usual stuff. So you're just basically anybody who is a potential for, harming their children, right, you're going to go to court. And there's no comebacks. You're in a secret court. Even if something is mistaken, or it's mistaken identity, or just someone doesn't like you and reports you. This goes on all the time as well. Other people's standards are higher than others, so they think their children are being abused when they're not. It's just, people should mind their own businesses. But in the cases of where children are being heavily abused, and they have come out and they've used, main stories where there's been, a big sort of, I remember the little lad who got beaten quite badly, and that was used as, the benchmark, if you like, for everybody, where these were just clearly one-off cases of people who, had been even looked at by social services but totally ignored. So they were using that as a case to go in and just take any kids they want, really, now, which is basically what, is happening. But, what a sort of story to open up with, really. But it takes a little bit of sort of absorbing in the fact that it goes on. And I think, 2 years ago, if you'd said somebody like Mr. Savile was a sex offender and a paedophile, he would have been called, a nut job, a crazy guy, when it was well known anyway, especially in the entertainment circles. But people still wouldn't have it. He's endorsed by the Queen, for goodness sake. He has his knighthood. But if the current uproar goes on any further, it seems like Mr. Savile will not have his knighthood, and his charities will be taken away and renamed, and the money distributed to even help the victims of his own abuse, according to the Telegraph, it says here. But going off onto Mr. Savile, but he, like I say, he just scratches the surface of a much bigger, darker, horrible situation going on in our government, in our these dark, horrible characters, and we see them for what they really are, and it's kind of quite depressing. But I'll get into it a little bit more. I want to play a tune, so I want to have a slight break after reading out that quite distressing news. But I'll play a tune, come back, and let's see what should we have. Okay, yes, let's have this.
Hey, has the revolution got you down, tired, afraid, alone, or depressed? Well then, we at Finn Radio just might have the solution. What you need is... Our special red pill formula consists of a variety of music, from classic rock to alternative to dubstep, combined with generous amounts of wisdom, love, and humor, all administered free by me, Adonis King, almost daily from 7 a.m. to noon Pacific U.S. time. Only here on
Finn Radio, freelinfonetwork.org.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the reality check with Bluebus here on this. I nearly said Friday evening there. It's Monday evening. Welcome along. It's a kind of horrible cold day up here in North Wales, and it's it's nice to be able to come on and do this once a week. And I'm trying to increase my time I do this, actually, if I can get some time. I've been chatting about it, and I know Cookie has mentioned it as well. Trying to use up some of this airtime that we do have, so I'm trying to sort of sort out maybe some more slots. Just have to work out my timetable, but welcome along anyway, guys. Hope you're doing well. Like I say, it's 8th of October, and yeah, the first half there was basically a little bit about what's been going on over here in the UK as far as exposing all these awful sex offenders, etc. that's been coming out recently, but I wanted to sort of go a little bit, sort of change tack a little bit. Yes, I have to. Right, I think I'm back now. Sorry about that. I had some tech issues there. If you could just tell me where I got up to when you lost the sound, that would be great. Because I've got a couple of stories here which I did mention. If I've mentioned the social network medias or anything like that, have I mentioned Facebook? Did you hear me mention that or not? I don't want to repeat myself if you did. Cheers, Adonis. Thanks for listening anyway. All goes a bit pear-shaped sometimes on my show, but there you go. But if I mentioned anything about Facebook, then I'll mention it next week now, because I can't be bothered now because we're running out of time. But anyways, welcome back. It's Flipping the Pyramid with Bluebus. And I don't know how long I've been off, actually. 10 minutes? 15 minutes? I don't know. But 111, you can all hear me. That's good. And can you tell me how long I was off for, please, if that's possible? Live radio, it's great, isn't it? Yeah. Anybody can tell me how long I was off for? No? 10 minutes. Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much. Right, I know where I'm at now. 10 minutes I've been off. Okay then, well, welcome back. Sorry about the little technical issue there. My Winamp went all schizoid on me again. God damn it. Always happens, but never mind. But wanted to get into some more different stories in this half. First one being the social network media, and more particularly Facebook, and more controls and more things are being brought in to basically monitor even more about your personal habits, etc. Because what Facebook are now doing is they've teamed up with a company called Data Logic. This is in the States. And what they're doing is they're being able to then access through this company called Data Logic most of your purchases that you do in shops, online, whatever. You've got these loyalty cards, this kind of stuff. This is how they know what you're spending, what you're buying, and this company has access to all this data as well. And what Facebook are doing is they're going to team up with this company and they're going to be able to show actually how their ads are working. So if you're being advertised something on Facebook, and they can then monitor your shopping habits via this data logic company and marry the two together and work out if their advertisers are getting value for money or not. But also knowing what you're spending, what you're buying, what your personal habits are. You know, they're going a little bit too far here, methinks. This is coming out of the Natural News today. I'll stick the link in, but again, another example of Facebook and social media just basically doing what they want, when they want, and you know, these things are not easy to undo, as it says in the article. You know, if you want to undo these changes that they bring in and this kind of data, it's kind of quite hard to, you know, undo these changes that are forced upon you. And this has happened many times with these sites. We've seen that with YouTube. We've seen with Facebook with this timeline thing that they forced upon everybody. And I think the ultimate thing is in this understanding of these types of networks and these social media sites. They don't belong to us. We're just using them, and we are the customer. We are the product, as Facebook always would say. You know, you are the product. That's what we are. That's what we're becoming, and we're buying into this. And because it gives us the opportunity to be able to, you know, connect in such an easy way, it's kind of just for them. It's okay to do what they want. They don't have to ask you. If you don't like it, you can always go away and not use it anymore, which is what I'm seriously thinking of doing anyway. But the other story that linked into that I saw from the Daily Fail, the good old Fail, the Facebook jacket that can give you a real hug when someone likes you online. It says, have you ever felt like have you ever felt a like on Facebook wasn't quite real enough? A US designer has unveiled a jacket that hugs the wearer every time they receive one. Designed by MIT student Melissa Chow, the Like a Hug is wearable social media vest that allows for hugs to be given via Facebook, bringing us closer despite physical distance. Sorry. It says the vest inflates when friends like a photo, video or status update on the wearer's wall. It says that its creators say this allows us to feel the warmth, encouragement, support or love that we feel when we receive a hug. Hugs can also be sent back to the original sender by squeezing the vest and deflating it. The project was done as an exercise and exploration in shape display, said Miss Chow. It says, we came up with the concept over a casual conversation about long-distance relationships and the limitations of video that interfaces like Skype. The concept of telepresence arose when we toyed with the idea of receiving hugs via wireless technology. It says the result was like a hug. Connecting it to Facebook conceptually was a simple way to explore how social media might push past the traditional graphic user interface. I mean, the whole concept of this, I mean, again, I was saying, but you couldn't hear me, was another way of selling you a transhumanistic kind of existence where, you don't need to be in physical contact with any human being, because if you're sad and lonely, your jacket will hug you. Yay! So you can see where this is all going, and this type of thing will be, if things don't change and we head on this, this path of, complete sort of, if you like, transhumanistic control, Orwellian and all the rest of it, lockdown on our freedoms and our entire existence, where they want to control everything, that's what you'll have to be making do with in the future. You won't have contact with other human beings, but you'll be reassured that they do like you. So, these kinds of stories, I don't know if I've stuck the link in already, but that thing is a hideous looking jacket if I've seen one anyway. But just an interesting development there in how we're being pushed along on this path of complete and utter control and reliance on machines and like I say, even now jackets that can hug you. Unbelievable. But moving along swiftly, because it's I wasn't expecting the delay again. I don't know what I did there. I may have inadvertently turned off my Winamp. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know how I did that, but I couldn't do it again even if I tried. But anyway, it says out of the Daily Fail. I'm getting a few Daily Fail stories here. I'm having a Daily Fail day. It's kind of, again, another hit piece coming out with the new laser weapon that's been rolled out. It's called Death Ray on Wheels. Yes, the Death Ray is upon us. US Army begins testing monster laser truck that can shoot down anything. Anything? Including missiles. Oh, right, okay. It says Boeing's land-based laser weapon could be used for missile defense. Beam will hit targets at a phenomenal 186,000 miles a second. That's pretty goddamn quick. It says laser weapons are a step closer to deployment on Earth's battlefields as US defense company gears up to test its new land-based device. Again, it's being developed by Boeing. This, I'll stick the picture, and there's a little video that goes with it as well. But again, it's just another them flexing their military muscles and showing you what they can do. And again, just another hit piece by the Mail. Let's stick it in there. Let's have a look. Yes, it's. Thought I'd just dig that one out, considering we're in the verge of, they're trying to still, bang the drums for World War III. It's all still, on the precipice, as I keep saying. We're on the verge of something, and as they reel out these stories and these weapons, and the amount of money obviously that they spend on these things, the amount of investment, it's just beyond a joke really. Where we're all suffering from austerity cuts measures. We're all being squeezed tighter and tighter, but somehow they find not millions but billions of our pounds and dollars to invest in this nonsense, and while everybody else suffers. When are we all gonna stand up and just take it no more? I mean, how much more lies and crap do we have to be putting up with? We know our police lie to us. We know our judiciary lie to us. We've seen the evidence of the lies and the uncovered, the Hillsborough disaster, policemen lying. The top police chief, commissioner, whatever, of North Yorkshire, retired today. Yes, he retired. Even though he was under, he was in charge on that day. He retires with a full pension. They look after their own, even though they've lied and took false statements and it's been uncovered. What's happened to that? What's happened to the investigations? Where are the heads rolling? Nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen. And then we see, the horrendous story I talked about, the paedophile Jimmy Savile, the uncovering of more hideous crimes and hideous things that have been going on in the depths of our, not just our entertainment industry, but our governments as well, at the higher levels. All these sick individuals. How many more times do we need to be told? We are balanced and mature. I'm sure many of us are, and I'm sure the many is much more than them. And we can be non-compliant. Anything. It's been a frustrating week for me anyway, in the sense that all this is coming out, all these truths. It's been going on for a few years now. All the stories, all the corruption, the banks, the governments, the whole thing, everything, as we talk about on here. And sometimes just felt a little tired of just thinking, when can the people they just don't get it, or we just don't have enough numbers, enough people like me, enough Joe Blogsers like me to come on here and just tell you what the guy on the street's thinking, where we're at, the real people. Not the dumbed down idiots, not the fools, not the morons, not the ones who think they're super cool and are just following the sheep. No, the real people, the ones on the street, the ones who have to deal with this each day. And it pisses me off. It really does. And I try and keep, my balance, my spiritual energy. I try and work with that and try and see these evil people and try and think to myself, we just need to remove them. I don't want to kill them. I don't want to hate them. I don't want to hate on these people. They just need to be removed. And the only way you can stop somebody from doing what they're doing is don't comply with what they're doing. And everything that they're doing, we're complying with. We do everything that they ask. And then they just change it and do what they want. As we saw today. They're going to take even more money off us. They're going to cut the welfare budget by 10 billion quid in the UK. 10 billion pounds. The welfare budget will be cut. You know, but they can find 10 billion to upgrade our, air defence systems or whatever it may be, or our drones. You know, they're investing billions of pounds in drone technology, which doesn't even fucking work very well. You know, so it's interesting, that we have this double standard and people just don't see it. You know, and it does frustrate me. And I think, Jesus, how many more times do we need to be told they're lying, they're cheats, they're evil, they're corrupt, they commit horrific offences against us and our children. You know, who are these people? You know, we need to start to stand up and just not comply. And I don't care. I don't care what people think anymore. I really don't care. I've been talking about this in work. I don't care what people think. If they're shocked at allegations of things, or they need to go and find out these things and go and investigate and research for yourself and stop listening to other people. Don't believe anything I say. I've said this many times on my shows. Don't believe anything I've just said the last hour. Go and find out for yourself. Go on, go and do it. Find out, and it's amazing what you can uncover. And the way in which our government and our so-called, rulers go about hiding and covering up their misdemeanors and their crimes. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. And the bankers as well. Can't miss the bankers out. But we're in a society which has a very, very few at the top. Very, very few. And the majority of us are putting up with this. And we're being told on a daily basis how much they lie, how much they hurt us, and how much they don't give a shit about us. But still, we take it, and we still go and vote. We still think we've got some kind of... come on! Wake the fuck up! Ugh. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting, and I'm going to play a little tune, gather my thoughts, and come back. Hopefully I don't turn off this amp. Yes, I'll play this tune, be back in 3 minutes. Hi guys, welcome back. Thought I'd play 2 tunes then, squeeze another one in that I picked for tonight after my little delay, but that was Bright Eyes, old song for the New World Order. Yeah, welcome back anyway, and it's a reality check with Bluebus. Coming up to the end now, but I wanted to just fit in a couple of more stories or things that I've seen today that have caught my eye. I might just fit the one in actually, see how we go. Political and corporate elite shun GM food on their own plate. Yes, here we go guys, here's the hypocrisy. Yes, it says, with a sad twist of irony, corporate and government elite dine on safe organic food, while the masses, those very people who are supposedly represented and protected by their governments, are poisoned by hidden genetically modified organisms, pesticides and dangerous contaminants. The presidential family demands organic food in their kitchen, yet behind closed doors shake hands with the biotech industry. China's top brass is fed by an exclusive gated organic garden, while the rest of the population consumes GM food, steroid-contaminated meat and dairy laced with melamine. Even Monsanto's own employees command non-genetically modified food in their canteen. Access to clean, organic and healthy food is not a given right anymore. It has become a political battleground for the average citizen suffering the loss. It says, while the First Lady Michelle Obama digs up the White House lawn to plant an organic garden, her husband promotes a GM agenda within its administration. And she says, in my household over the last year we have just shifted to organic, she said in the New Yorker interview during Barack Obama's 2008 presidential campaign. Organic produce from the garden feeds the Obama family and visiting dignitaries alike. Seems okay so far, but then take a look at Obama's laundry list of presidential appointed positions with biotech ties. Yes, USDA head Roger Beachy, a former director of Monsanto, FDA food safety czar Michael Taylor, one-time vice president for public policy at Monsanto, commissioner of the USDA Tom Vilsack, who created the governor's biotechnological partnership under President Obama. 10 new GM crops have been approved for safe consumption. Yay! And we saw Russia recently say they're going to ban all GM food or imports of food, corn, whatever, after they have publicly stated they weren't happy with the trials that were being carried out to see if this food is safe, and it's been known for years that it's dodgy, and still these evil corporations, Monsanto in particular, are still push for this to be everywhere, and like you say, their own people don't even eat it. But the likes of the masses, the ones who have got limited amounts of money available to them, this is ideal, and it's been proven, like I say, many times that this is causing tumours, alters DNA, alters your whole structure of your body, inside, your gut lining, your stomach, how it reacts to things. We're being changed, we're being morphed into something horrible, and they just seem to want to push this GMO on us in such a massive way, and the more we recognise this for what it is, and the hypocrisy of these leaders, these growing they won't eat that muck. No, I don't want that. That's disgusting. Don't give it to me. We want to feed them all. We want to feed all the royal family, a lot of them, on this GMO stuff. See how they like it, because we're finding it in our everyday foods, especially if you eat processed foods a lot, or you're eating junk, basically. You'll find it will contain GMO, even though they won't admit it, or McDonald's, for instance, all these fast food places, they're all dabbling in this. Because it will save them money, it will increase their profits, and like we always say, they don't give a shit about us, they just care about the money. But another example of how these so-called have fit to call themselves any kind of leader. We didn't choose them, they were presented to us, we didn't choose them, and we end up with just this nonsense, and it's being fed to us, like I say, on a daily basis. But more people are coming out, and like I say, Russia has decided it's not going to do it. I'm sure with the pressure that's on at the moment, we'll probably hopefully see some kind of banning of it in Europe across the board. I know the EU have mentioned it. I don't know whether they've done it yet. I don't think they have. But or will we see nothing happen at all? Will we just see talk and rhetoric when it's all slowly pushed through under your noses? That seems to be what they're aiming for, especially when they don't even want to put labels on their products to tell you that what's in them, is this GMO or not. They don't want you to know. It's all done very cleverly, and the establishment and the powers that be, if they want this, and they do want it, they will sell it to us, and it will be on our shelves as it is now, and it will take a very astute shopper in the future to identify this stuff, and only option is grow your own, and that's where we're all heading. I think we're all moving into that area of homegrown food, or more local farm shopping, that kind of thing, and people are moving away from this, and they're trying desperately, the media, to obviously push the agenda of the powers that be, to convince you that organic food isn't that good for you, doesn't have the benefits of any more benefits than just a pesticide covered piece of vegetable or fruit or whatever it is. It's the same according to them, and they've convinced people that that is the case. And I know in supermarkets they've also moved away heavily from organic, because when you go to a supermarket now, you'd be very hard pressed to find anything in the fruit and veg, especially where I live anyway. There's not much available, but at one time there was quite a bit. So they're convincing people that just eat what we provide you. It's good for you. It's good for you. It's the trust they build up with their, with the masses. They just would not dream that they would be selling them anything that would poison them or give them illnesses in the future. And as we mentioned many times on these shows and other shows, that is definitely not the case. They will put lots of chemicals, all sorts of rubbish into your food, which will completely shut you down almost. It will give you also a very low energetic feel, again energy, and you won't be able to think clearly because you haven't really been, fueling your body in the correct way. And that's where we see the problems we have now. But yeah, another story coming out of there, just to reiterate the use and the and the criminal Monsanto corporation, which is what it is, and many like it, trying to convince you that this stuff is good for you when their own people won't even eat the shit, because that's what it is. It's basically shit, and the damage it will do to us if it's allowed to just, if you like, spread. It's quite shocking. But like we said this time and time again, within 5 or 10 years, if things head in the way they are, and if enough people haven't got it yet, or got it in a few years' time, we're heading down a very, very tricky path. And the only people who are going to save us is us guys. We're the ones who will save ourselves, and it's about waking up, dealing with it, and making sure that you've got a level head to cope with whatever's going to come your way. But it's not easy. But I'm going to leave it there, guys, because it's 12 minutes past 9 now, and I'll be back next week. Don't forget, on Thursday evening, check out Cookie for virtual shamanising between 9 and 11. And on Sunday evening, don't forget to join Keelan as well on the Wide Shut webcast. He'll be back, and I think he's going to be covering, again, he didn't manage to do it on Sunday, was the Holly Gregg story, which he was going to mention last week, but he's going to do that this Sunday, I think. So tune in for Keelan between 8 and 9 on Sunday. And I'll leave you with another tune, and thank you once again for listening. Sorry for the technical hitches, but that's part of my show. It wouldn't be my show if there wasn't any technical screw-ups. Come on. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back next week between 8 and 9, and I'll leave you with a bit more, I think, where are we? Bob Marley. Yeah, let's play a bit of Bob, and I'll speak to you all next week. See you later, guys.